Okay, so let's get right into it. We're seeing infertility rates go up and up, and honestly, it's a topic that's filled with a lot of confusion and, frankly, a lot of stigma. But what if one of the biggest reasons for this is something many of us are dealing with every single day without even knowing it? Today, we are going to dive deep into this surprising link between inflammation and fertility, and then we're going to lay out a really clear three-step action plan you can use to fight back.
First, let's just wrap our heads around how big this problem really is. Right now in the US, 1 in 5 couples trying for their first child will struggle with infertility. That's 20%. And the really scary part, that number is climbing. You know, just 15 years ago, it was 1 in 8. So this isn't some small niche issue, it's a huge, growing problem.
And we really have to change how we think about this. This isn't just a reproductive problem. We need to see it for what it truly is. A modern health crisis. Your fertility, it's not this separate thing. It's actually a vital sign. It's a direct reflection of your overall hormonal health, how your metabolism is doing, and even your long-term health and longevity. So what on earth is going on inside our bodies?
Now, this is where it gets kind of wild. The official medical definition of infertility is when you fail to get pregnant after 12 months of trying. I mean, think about that for a second. The disease is literally defined by failure. And what that means is that a lot of people have to go through an entire year of frustration and heartbreak before they can even get the tests they need to figure out what's actually going on.
So that leads us to the big question, right? If these rates are going up so fast for both men and women, it has to be something in our environment, something in our modern lifestyle that's changed. So what is it? What's the one big thing that's really driving this crisis?
Well, this quote from Dr. Natalie Crawford, she's a fertility specialist, just nails it. The main culprit here is chronic inflammation. And look, we're not just talking about the kind of inflammation that's linked to obesity. This is a low-grade, constant inflammation that's fueled by our diet, our stress, all the environmental toxins we're exposed to, and especially our sleep habits. It's basically running in the background, quietly wrecking our hormonal systems.
So how does that even work? Well, this isn't just some vague idea. This inflammation literally gets in the way of the brain sending the right hormone signals needed for ovulation or for sperm production. And on top of that, it actually damages the cells themselves, the egg and the sperm, making it much harder to even get pregnant and to maintain a healthy pregnancy.
So who's to blame here? For the longest time, this has been one of the biggest myths in the world of fertility. All the pressure, all the focus, it's been almost entirely on women. But you know what? The actual data tells a very, very different story.
The reality is, both egg quality and sperm quality are under attack. Sperm counts have dropped by almost 50% in the last 50 years, and that decline is actually speeding up. And at the exact same time, we're seeing more and more women being diagnosed with things like low ovarian reserve or even premature menopause. This modern, inflammatory world we live in, it's affecting everyone.
And this slide really breaks down how that impact is different. See, a woman is born with every single egg she'll ever have, so their quality is really a reflection of a lifetime of exposures. For sperm, though, it's a different ballgame. They have about a 90-day turnover. Now, that means they're also vulnerable to damage, but it also means there's a huge opportunity to make them healthier pretty quickly with lifestyle changes. The bottom line is this, and it's so important. Fertility is a team sport.
Okay, so that's the problem. And yeah, it's big, and it's inflammatory. But here's the really good news. Because so much of this is driven by our lifestyle, you have a ton of power to change it. So let's get into the actual steps, the things you can start doing today.
Here it is. This is the 3-pillar plan to really go after that inflammation. Number 1, master your sleep. Number 2, detox your daily environment. And number 3, get the right diagnosis to figure out if there's an underlying issue. So let's break each one down.
This might be the single most important thing that we all seem to neglect, but is the absolute foundation of good health. Sleep is your body's #1 most powerful, natural anti-inflammatory. It's when your hormones hit the reset button. Dr. Crawford has this great analogy. She says your body's like a toddler. It thrives on a predictable routine. So when you give it a consistent sleep schedule, 7 to 9 hours a night, you're basically telling your body, hey, you're safe, things are stable, and it's a good environment to support a pregnancy.
All right, next up, we've got to lower the amount of toxins we're exposed to every day. A lot of these chemicals are called endocrine disruptors because they literally mess with our hormones. The key is to just focus on the stuff you're around all the time. First, the kitchen. Get rid of the plastics and non-stick pans, especially when you're heating food. Second, your water. Get
Get a good quality filter. And third, your personal products. Be super careful with anything that just lists fragrance on the label, because that can be a hiding spot for a whole cocktail of chemicals.
Now, this is a huge one. Unexplained infertility is often just undiagnosed infertility. You absolutely have to be your own advocate here. So many people have these low-grade inflammatory conditions that are just flying under the radar. Two of the biggest culprits are autoimmune thyroid disease, also known as Hashimoto's, and celiac disease. Both of these create a ton of inflammation in the body that can directly impact fertility and even the risk of miscarriage.
Okay, this question comes up constantly. I mean, you see them everywhere, right? All these hormone-balancing supplements. It's so tempting to just grab a bottle and hope for a quick fix. But can they actually solve the problem?
The short answer? You need to be really careful. A lot of these herbal supplements can actually get in the way of that delicate hormone communication between your brain and your ovaries or testes. They're basically a band-aid. They might cover up the symptoms, but they stop you from figuring out what the root cause of the problem is. The goal should always be to find out why your hormones are off, not just to treat the symptoms.
And that brings us to what is truly the most important part of all of this. Our healthcare system is often reactive, and that's especially true when it comes to fertility. You have to learn to listen to your own body. If you feel like something is off, even if your first tests come back looking normal, you have to keep pushing for answers. Nobody knows your body better than you do.
So, let's just quickly recap the big takeaways here. First, always remember that fertility is a team sport. Both partners have to be on board. Second, start with the basics. Master your sleep, it's your best weapon against inflammation. Third, lower your daily inflammatory load by paying attention to your kitchen, your water, and your personal products. And finally, be your own biggest advocate. Push for real answers if you think something is wrong.
And we'll leave you with this last thought. Your ability to have a child isn't just about having a baby. It is one of your body's most important vital signs. It tells you so much about your overall health. So maybe the real question isn't just, how can I get pregnant? Maybe it's, what is my body trying to tell me about my health? Thanks so much for joining us.